Ladies and gentlemen, friends who are both and dear celestial furries who are neither, welcome back. We're just about ready. My name's Barakiel, by the way. Just about ready to go into our Pseudoregalia Race. This is a game that I played recently on runner recommendations, and you guys are in for a treat. But to send us off, we have a donation. From one Zando Toaster sends in $50 with the comment, Pseudoregalia is a good game. Pepsi and Jaxler are good runners. And Power Up with Pride is a good marathon. What a good time to enjoy speedrunning. And with that, I am going to hand it over to the runners and take it away.
All right, hey, what's up, everybody? It's the Pseudoregalia crew. We're going to be showing off a race of the 100% category. Just to do introductions real quick, I am Jaxler, one of your two runners, he, him.
I'm killingpepsi, the other runner, he, they.
And I am Ruby or Corundum Core or Core, your commentator, she, they.
Yeah. And so, Ruby, she recently beat this game and is not super familiar with this category. So she, along with our lovely host Barakiel, are going to be just as mind blown as you are. This is a very fast paced category and game. If you haven't seen the game before, this is a 3D Metroidvania that came out earlier this year. Where all of like the progression items are based on movement abilities, things like slides, aerial parkour, all of that kind of nonsense. So this game is going to go by really fast, so apologies in advance, but we hope you all enjoy it. This is probably both of our favorite categories, so we get to show off a lot of cool stuff. So we're very excited. So yeah, this is going to be a race. This is going to be an out of bounds run as well. We have out of bounds and no out of bounds categories, but we're going to be doing out of bounds because it's a bit faster and it's also hype. So gotta go with the hype, right? So, all right, Killing Pepsi, if you're ready, then we can have Ruby count us off so we start at the same time.
I am so ready.
All right. Then we'll go ahead and start the timer in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
Good luck.
All right, welcome to Pseudoregalia, everybody. We're starting off as our playable character, Sybil. She is a goat bunny lady, according to the game's lore, and at the start, all she can do is jump. And so we're going to immediately start grabbing our first major upgrade of the game, which is the Dreambreaker. This is our primary form of damage, and it's also going to allow us to break some barriers here. But pretty much everyone needs to grab this because otherwise we can't progress. So in order to 100% this game, we need to get, well, the base requirements to beat the game is to get 5 major keys to unlock the door to the final boss. But in addition to that, we also need all of the green orb bonus power-ups, all 10 progression upgrades, as well as 16 heart pieces. And we'll talk about a bit more what those look like once we get there. But I'm going to explain something real quick as we head into this first platforming room with the bird cages called a gainer. So you'll see me do one right about here. And so we're essentially doing a backflip that sends us forward. This is done by going full speed forward, hitting backwards to put ourselves into a skid animation. And then in the skid animation, we do a jump, which normally gives us a backflip. But if we change direction to forward at the start of the backflip, we can actually redirect the backflip to send us forward, which is called a gainer. And so in that spot, it gave us a little bit of extra height, which allowed us to do a little platform skip. But once we get slide, it has this really cool property to it where it actually will take any horizontal speed that we have and carry it into the air with us into some really cool speed tech. So we're going to get a slide here, and then the two of us are going to shut up because this is where the APM starts to come into play. There we go. So that is a slide
Right.
ultra, if you want to explain, Ruby.
Yeah, exactly. So basically what Jack said, so you're taking the horizontal speed from the slide and immediately converting it to vertical speed. And now we are using this pathway that we opened up on the way to get the slide. We're just doing some kind of blind movement right now to skip a mini boss that is not required for 100% completion. So we're kind of going out the back way of the dilapidated dungeon right now, and we're gonna spend some time in the underbelly, and we're gonna grab a power up called Ascendant Light. That's
Yep.
basically like a pogo effect, and it also will light up our character model so that we're not doing as much blind movement, and that's right here.
Yeah. So
And
I'm
normally
actually,
it's like super out of the way to get Ascendant Light, so it's really convenient that it's, right on the way for Hundo.
yeah. So you won't see too much of Ascendant like quite yet because the areas where it's super useful aren't going to be till like the mid to late game. But I'm going to use this platform, movement speed, and use some bunny hops to preserve the speed, and then I can do a gainer out of that in order to jump up to the first of our heart pieces for the run. So there are 16 of them in the game, even though you only need 3 to build a full heart container, so there's just 1 extra heart piece. We still require it for 100% completion. And then right there I do a little strat where I actually bang my head on the ceiling there on purpose. It pushes Sybil forward, which actually gives her a little bit of speed. So what Killing Pepsi and I are going to go do next is grab a small key. This is going to get us a really nice upgrade here called Helical Kick, but we'll explain a little bit more. Oh, that didn't reach? Really? Okay. Well.
Oh, that's tragic. All right, well, while we're doing this, might as well talk a little bit about some of the momentum conservation stuff that we're doing that is allowing for this just incredible movement that you're seeing. So one of the examples of that is something called a knee slide, where you do 2 slides, and on the second slide you input a jump on the I believe it's a frame perfect same frame,
It's very
and
good, yeah.
yeah, and that basically allows you to keep all of the momentum from the slide and transfer it into a jump, and then you can just bunny hop to just keep massive amounts of momentum through these areas like you're seeing both of our runners do right now.
There we go. And so we just got an air kick called Helical Power. So normally there is a progression upgrade that you're supposed to get that allows you to do these air kick wall bounces. But there's this hidden upgrade to give you a 4th wall kick that is normally inaccessible without wall kicks. And so it's programmed in such a way that it just gives you a wall kick for free, regardless of if you've gotten that Metroidvania upgrade or not. So that's going to give us basically like a second jump that we're going to be able to use as a way of redirecting, getting a little extra height, spacing. It's a really nice Swiss Army knife to have. Yeah, it's very fun to mess around with too. So we're going to go for a heart piece here real quick. Had a little bit of rough movement through there, so hopefully Killing Pepsi gave you a little bit of a better example of what that should look like.
We'll see.
And then we're eventually going to get to a really cool section where I think, honestly, probably none of us are going to talk because it's just hype. And especially if you haven't seen like a speedrun, like you've played the game or seen the game, you haven't seen a run of it before, it's probably going to blow your mind, which is Tower Remains. We're not supposed to be at Tower Remains for a good bit into the game. This is a pretty non-linear game, but there are certain collectibles that you're intended to get a lot later than others, and one of them is the Cling Gem. And Cling Gem is very broken, so we want that right away, because even though it's a little bit out of our way to grab, and we'll have to come back here for the final boss, it saves so much time that it's just very worth it. But we have to do some shenanigans, as I like to say, in order to actually do Tower Remains Ascent with just slide and air kick. And so I'm going to shut up now.
Let's just watch the magic happen.
So I actually beefed it there a little bit.
Nice
so
save
I
there.
saved it in advance.
Oh, almost used again. Just gonna take the non-beef route.
So yeah, I'm super curious because Broccoli, you said that you've played this game. So how different is this looking so far?
So to answer that, I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
Did my man just say they don't have the ability to jump out of the slide yet?
Yes.
No. So it's a really interesting kind of bug with the whole like Slide Ultra thing. Because essentially the way the interaction works is that you can jump to cancel the slide early, and then you still have like momentum on the ground while it's happening, so you have just a tight enough window to be able to put in a gainer jump. And so it's pretty tricky to like do it and to like work it and make it consistent. But if you master it, it's basically like you never need slide jump in the first place. But again, we will be getting it because for one, it's required for 100%. And on top of that, it has a couple of interesting properties in conjunction with the air kick. That actually, we used to like hate getting solar wind, but after a kind of a recent tech discovery, it's become a lot more interesting to see and use.
For sure.
So we're actually about to get it. So we're actually going to be abandoning knee sliding for the rest of the run. So one of the things with Solar Wind, which is our slide jump, is that you actually cannot perform knee slides as well as the standard slide ultra jump, because you just get put to max speed immediately and the jump lifts you off the ground immediately. So it's just an interaction kind of thing. And because of that, and because we have to get it so early in Hundo, it leads to some really interesting like routes that make running Hundo different than pretty much every category in the game, which I think is pretty cool. So we're grabbing a small key on the way to Indignation. So there is a system in the game's combat similar to what Hollow Knight has, where you see that as we beat up enemies, it fills this meter. And with Indignation collected, after we fill up the meter, we get a 2x bonus damage, and that's really important. And then we're also going to go ahead and equip Professional. There we go.
Good. Run valid.
Run valid. And then right here, we're going to do a slide ultra, which is going to skip kind of the intended puzzle that we're supposed to do in this room. You can skip it in a bunch of different ways, like just depending on when you get to that in your playthrough. That's kind of one of the interesting things about this game that I've heard before, is I've heard a lot of people say, oh, I thought I did a skip because like I didn't have to do this thing that I thought was pretty, like obviously looked like it had to be done, if that makes sense. So it's kind of interesting the way that it ends up working out. So you grab a small key for all the stuff in here. And then we're going to be doing the rest of the library here. So I'll let Karn and Cora explain some of the new tech that we're going to see with Solar Wind here.
Yeah, absolutely. So Solar Wind allows for a really interesting property called a moon kick. So essentially, when you do Solar Wind, it reduces your gravity. And if you time it just right with a wall kick, you can keep that reduced gravity with you when you do get the height from a wall kick. So it allows you to just fly up walls, and we'll see an example of that relatively soon. But first, we've got to clip out of this room right here. So we're actually going to see two different ways to do this clip, because both of our runners have slightly different ways of doing it. So Jax is going for it right now.
There we go, third try, not bad.
Got it. And let's see, Pepsi's clip.
Okay, second try. Table.
Nice.
So the reason that we have two different ways of doing that is because we actually are, well, in some ways, completely different players. So I actually play on controller, and killingpepsi plays on keyboard and mouse. And so my setup is easier for me because I'm on controller and because I have access to those analog stick inputs. But for killingpepsi, that setup is infinitely easier because with the keyboard, you can line up very specific angles, and it's just a lot more natural to have that set up that way. So it's one of those, interesting things about running this game. I accidentally went into first person, tragedy, but we're good. It's one of the interesting things about this game is that there's really a lot of room for adapting movement based on sort of comfort and playstyle. That really doesn't end up like saving all that much time. So in a lot of ways, like you can kind of see people express their playstyle through how they approach a given problem or obstacle that they need to overcome, which I think is kind of rad. So we're gonna grab this heart piece here, and then we're coming up on one of the early, like, really hard parts. This is kind of where we start to get into what we like to call, like, the mid to late game, weirdly enough. Just because this is where, like, the run's difficulty really starts to spike up a bit. And so, Ruby, I don't know if you want to talk over this room while I fail at it.
Oh yeah, so we're gonna do some moon kicks right now to get a key that most people don't even know exists in the game. But that's what you saw right there with the, yeah, right? So that slide into the wall, immediately followed by some kicks to just fly up the wall. And
Yeah.
also just the fact that you have this much health and we are, what, like 13 minutes into the run is ridiculous. I think I had this much health at like 4 hours in.
Yup.
Yeah, I
And it's
think I
interesting.
ended the game with 1 more health than this.
Wow. So we're coming up on one of my favorite parts of the run, and kind of a run killer sometimes too, called Martial Prowess. Martial Prowess is one of those green orb upgrades that is another double damage buff, so 100% damage increase. But we are going to be getting it through a rather ridiculous out of bounds sequence here. So, Ruby, do you feel comfortable explaining what a cling clip is?
Kind of. So essentially you're using the cling gem ability to grab onto a section of the wall that is partially out of bounds.
Yeah, that's pretty
and
much
that
it.
Yeah, and that lets you clip through like what we're doing right now.
Here's the fun part.
It is wild how in sync y'all are right now. This is amazing. So yeah, going into Martial Prowess right now, just need to drop in, grab it right here.
Yeah, right there, it's really important to avoid accidentally hitting a checkpoint trigger, because we want to die and respawn back at the loading zone. If you hit that trigger, it very bad. And so we are
So
going
what
to
you-
grab. Sorry.
Oh, I was just about to say that what you just saw Jax do right there is called a regrab. So if you are lined up on a wall and you basically hold your direction into the wall, continue holding the cling grab trigger and jump, you can re-grab onto the same wall, and that allows us to get some extra height as well.
All right, this is the hardest part of the run. This is theater. If this didn't already blow your minds, this part will. I'm on a set cycle right now. I think we're pretty much in the same spot. Ooh, that was almost really bad.
Yeah,
I know
so
where my axes are. Okay, I think I'm good.
You got it.
There we go.
nice job reading that. Yeah, so those axes are on a cycle as soon as you enter theater. So you can really get bodied by those if you're slightly off cycle. So that was a great recovery there from both of our runners.
Nice. So we're gonna do most of this section out of bounds here. Basically making use of the various invisible checkpoints in order to allow us to death warp back. Oh, heck yeah. I got the reverse moon kicks first try. That's like probably the hardest part for me right there. You'll see me do that strat one more time when we get to Pilgrimage. Do you mind explaining what a reverse wall kick is?
Yeah, so basically it's when you get so the way that the wall kicks normally work is that it will send you away from the wall in a orthogonal direction from where you were facing when you did the kick. So if you're standing directly next to the wall and kick so that you're facing away from the wall when you do the kick, you go straight up. And there's really not a better way to describe it than that, so I apologize that I know it's confusing.
Yeah, it's funky. And then this is probably one of the hardest wall clips that we're going to be doing, which is to get to Soul Cutter and skipping a bunch of rooms as well. So come on.
Let me through.
I wasn't getting let through either. Jeez, we're like right
There
on
we
sync, aren't we? Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, no, it's ridiculous how close y'all are right now.
Heck yeah. Alright, so now I attempt the clip back out of bounds. First try, nice.
It's
So
my
you
favorite clip. You just bonk yourself in the head
Yeah.
and get pushed out of bounds.
Easy.
Yeah, so right there's another reverse wall kick. You don't have a lot of room to work with there, so that's just the best way up. And then for some reason, there's just this box out of bounds here, which we can. Oh, I'm gonna have to do the scary back up. Nice, got it.
Love
And we
box.
fall in through the ceiling, grab the heart piece, and then we're gonna go grab the major key. So part of the reason for all that weird out of bounds routing is that we need to hit 3 levers to open up that major key. And so basically we hit a lever while we're out of bounds so that we like kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So all right, so we get that one right there. And then this is like one of my least favorite art pieces in the game because those ledges don't like to work. I have a joke called Sybil Grab the Ledge Challenge Impossible. And then
Which
I don't
you
know
just saw from both of our runners, so.
All right, I'm gonna see if I can do this for the fans.
Ooh, I'm sorry, I can't do it for fans.
Yeah, so this is probably where.
Do it for the haters.
I've done it like twice.
Okay, there we go. I got it.
Ooh.
So that's like a trick that if you hit first try saves time, but it starts to go even the more times it takes for you to get. So yeah, now we're in what's called Upper Castle Sansa, which is kind of this hidden area with a bunch of optional upgrades. So we're going to be going here, grabbing the 3 items that we need here, and then puts us in a pretty convenient spot for later. So I guess if we have any messages that we'd like to read, I guess now is a decent time. We'll see. Yeah, just probably one quick message.
Alrighty then. Let me just check. Well, let's go with reminding people why we're here, which is that we are here to support Point of Pride. It is a trans-led 501c3 nonprofit organization, and they provide life-changing access and life-saving affirmation to trans folks in need of health and wellness care via financial aid and direct support.
So we're going to be doing something kind of interesting here called a first-person reverse. So we go into first-person mode while hitting backwards into the wall, and it basically automatically gives us the perfect setup for doing reverse wall kicks without having to do any major stick inputs. So now I'm going to be going, because I'm a little behind, I'm going to be, at least I assume, I'm going to be going for the Pilgrimage Fast strat here.
I'm not saying anything.
My lips are sealed.
You were the one who didn't want to have their stream pulled up.
That is true. You did this to yourself.
Yeah, I did do this to myself. And this is not going great. Yep. Come on.
Oh damn, these moon kicks are being brutal to you right now.
There we go. Okay, I have Pilgrimage now.
Because those were reverse moon kicks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's combining the reverse wall kicks with moon kicks, and the timing for those are so incredibly tight, but it is one of the best ways to gain height on a wall. We are currently in the hallway with extremely slappable boys.
That's literally what it's called in the files of the randomizer. I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah. And unfortunately, we didn't
randomizer?
slap any of the boys, so
Yeah.
run invalid.
I didn't see any either. They were just alongside.
So now we're grabbing Strike Break. This is kind of a charge attack, which unlocks some barriers, but we skipped a lot of the Strike Break barriers. So one of the prerequisites casually that you need to be able to get Soul Cutter is Strike Break. So a big reason why we did that really tricky looking out of bounds is so that we could basically route Strike Breaker later.
Egg in the door. Okay, we're good. Don't worry about it.
All right, so now we're heading into Underbelly. So this will be our last visit to Underbelly. So you're supposed to have Sunsetter, which is sort of like the ground pound, in order to break through those barriers there. But you can do a really easy to set up compared to the other ones. I'm not going to pretend like tricks in this game are necessarily easy, but that's one of the easiest wall cling saves you can do to clip yourself through something. And then we're going to skip the intended puzzle through here by just wall gliding around it.
Yeah, and you see that both of our runners have just done this in slightly different ways, and the main thing is that we're just trying to avoid checkpoints so that we're pushed out where we started in that room, so we don't have to do as much backtracking.
Yep. And so on our way back, so Killing Pepsi might have gotten it already, but I'm going to be getting it now, which is a heart piece in this room, with moon kicks all the way up to here. Yeah, so the reason I've been actually routing it so I do that before leaving is because there's that really annoying like pillar in the way that like kind of blocks your movement when you need to go down deeper into the underbelly. So, all right, you know what, Ruby, you know what's coming, so I'll leave it to you.
Yeah. Well, real quick, I'm just watching that really nice clip that Killing Pepsi just did. You're running a little bit behind, Jax, but Killing Pepsi is currently going up to get the castle key. Jax is going to try and catch up with a slightly more difficult clip in and then a clip out.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
That literally
that's
worked,
brutal.
and it didn't give me.
Dang, it takes like 30 seconds. It's a really, really notable skip.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly doing it because it's height,
I'm scared.
but
Really hard.
Dibble,
Wow,
please.
it is just
Oh my-
not being nice to you right now.
Oh my god, Sybil.
But yeah,
I believe.
Pepsi
Alright,
is
I'm
going
going
to
for it.
grab Sunsetter, which is normally an item that you get much earlier, but it can actually cause soft locks when used out of bounds. So because so much of this category takes place out of bounds, we save it towards the end of the run. And so now I believe there's only like 1 or 2 more things we need to grab before we're go mode for the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, one.
I'm still gonna try to go for the height death warp here. Just basically you don't have to hit that lever, but all right, let's see if I can hit this. Okay, I got it first try, sweet.
And you got it first try. That's wild.
Oh my god.
Can I ask a mechanics question?
Go for it.
Absolutely.
So I've noticed when you guys do end up slapping boys, you don't use the third hit of the combo.
Yeah, so that's intentional. So the third hit of the combo has a lot of like end lag on it, and so because of that, oftentimes it's a lot faster to just use the first 2 hits than the third hit of the combo, unless we know it's going to destroy something like that right there.
Okay,
Yeah, if we have to do more than 3, we generally just do it in groups of 2.
interesting.
All right, and so Killing Pepsi is currently approaching the tower again, except this time we don't have to do the annoying climb because we already unlocked the elevator. So we just need to make our way up here, do a little bit of some really sick platforming, which we're going to see in just a second, grab the final key, and then we are on to the final boss.
Safe route on the left here.
Going
That's
safe
the
route?
route. I know. Don't blame me.
All right, don't soft lock here.
Alright, I'm gonna do on controller. If I do it on controller, it never soft locks. Perfect.
That is not true.
As
As a controller player, that is not true.
That is not true at all.
Yeah, so we're currently entering the distorted memory right now. So this is the final boss fight, and we're probably going to try and be a little quiet, just because this fight goes by really quickly. You're going to get some hits in mid-air, and time will be coming up relatively soon. I'll be giving updates as we see them. We're basically hoping for no Beyblades, because that's the most annoying attack that Princess can do.
Okay, halfway.
All right, that's halfway. And there's the Beyblade.
Okay, I'm gonna go for the hard strat for height.
Should be a few hits
I
away.
need it. Okay.
No, she's
I just need to finish this freaking race.
Hey, she's done and coming up on time.
Time.
All right, GG's, good run.
Heck yeah, thank you.
Yeah, seriously,
I'm-
like, if it weren't for that keep key skip, y'all probably would have
Yeah,
finished within about a second of each
probably-
other.
I shouldn't have gone for it, but you know what?
I mean,
It's
these
against
are
height.
were
It is height.
Yeah.
you were in the same room for so much of that run.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. I can't be too
Like,
mad.
legitimately, that was the only thing that was separating y'all in this race. It's wild.
Could have PB'd if I didn't lose 17 things. Okay.
All right. So let's see how this fight goes for me.
Everyone, please put a in the chat.
Yeah, gotta make sure that Killing Pepsi gets their victory burgies.
This is a birdie for Jaxler. That's a victory birdie.
Halfway. And I got orbs too.
Oh, no.
Done.
And time.
Yeah, that happened. That's what I get for going for the hard strats. But you know what? Hope you all enjoyed
It looks
that.
cool.
It does look cool.
Yeah.
I did give up on it, but you know, I did get the harder one, which is the clip out of bounds. So normally
Yeah,
when
and
you
I'm
do
so
that,
mad because I was supposed to donate for every miss of the harder part of the clip, and that's the one that you got first try.
yeah, you miss all the shots you don't take, you know. So,
That's true.
but yeah, that
fantastic run, y'all.
woohoo!
Thank you.
Thanks for having us. Shout outs to the Pseudoregalia community. Want to give a huge shout out to people like Thulius, Yoshichi, Outlier, Rando Crew. Shout outs to you as well. If you want to learn how to do this run, there is a basic movement guide on YouTube by Pace Proxy. That's probably the good place to start for now. And one of our top any percent runners, Wilbun, is currently scripting and writing out a beginner tutorial. So look out for that soon, and you'll hear me talk about it nonstop once it's out. But yeah, follow us on Twitch. You can find the winner at twitch.tv/killingpepsi, and you can find the loser at twitch.tv/Jaxler1. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
thanks for having the both of us. Thank you, Ruby, for joining us on the commentary. Yeah.
Thanks for
Anything
having
coming
me
up?
just memeing here.
It was a good time. Memes are good.
Memes are good. Yeah, just real quick before we go, we talked a little bit about it during the run, but if you are somebody who is looking for any form of gender affirming care and you're afraid that you might not be able to afford it, please go to pointofpride.org and look for their grant programs, for their gender affirming clothing, HRT access, things like that. It is such an incredible resource. I'm so happy that we're working with this charity, this event. Please check them out if that's something that you need. And please consider donating if you're able.
Let's do my job, why don't you?
Yeah, I know.
Enjoy the rest
Listen,
of the game, everybody.
you can take the commentator out of the host, but you can't take the host out of the commentator.
Ruby stopped doing more work than she's supposed to challenge. Impossible.
We all know people like that.
Yeah.
I am
Thanks,
not
everybody.
people like that. All right. That was okay. So chat. Let me level with you for a sec here, chat. So I did a few weeks ago when I learned when the schedule went up. I went to Jaxler and I went to Killing Pepsi and I was like, hey, I've had this game on my radar for a while, but I've just never pulled the trigger. Should I play the game before the run? And they both were like, yeah, you probably should. There's a lot of, we're going to be getting everything going everywhere. So if you want the full exploration of it. So I did. And I like to consider myself fairly good at platformers. Now I did get extremely lost. But my playthrough of Pseudoregalia, 8.1 hours. Just for context on that, 8.1 hours for a casual playthrough. But since Ruby did most of my job, I'll do the part that remains and remind you that you are watching Winter Pride 2023 here on Twitch, run by Power Up with Pride. We are running from December 14th through December today, and we are benefiting Point of Pride. To find out more about them, you can find the link to their site in the panels below the stream, or, like I did, use the !charity command in chat. If you're interested in donating, you can type point donate in chat, or find the schedule by using point schedule, or point incentives. We have a whole theme going on. It's great. Stay tuned for, no shade, the run I've been most excited for tonight. Virtual Hide Glide with Mechalink. Because I got some money riding on this game. Tell you more about that in a minute. And welcome back, friends. Now, in case you missed it, we have actually nailed the target donation incentive for the next run. So, in just a few minutes, we're going to be going over to Mechalink with Virtual Hide Glide. I believe all dungeons. But there is still one more goal that we haven't reached yet, and that is 7K. So, at 7K, for the marathon total, right? So we're, casually does math on stream, $355 away from hitting hazard runs. It's a different name for them too, if you know Metroid speedrunning, but it's a little iffy if we can say that one on stream. So if we hit the big 7K, then the seed for our finale run, the Metroid Planets race, I believe, the seed generated for that is going to make people run through rooms that will sap their health See, normally there's this recurring thing in Metroid, this mechanic of heat rooms or, you know, as a fusion, cold rooms, where if you go in without the right suit on, you just slowly lose health, and sometimes it's not slow, and it's very, very scary. And there's an item that stops you from taking that damage, but, and normally, right, it's like, okay, well, if you don't have the Varia suit, you're not supposed to go through the hot, yeah, they're gonna have to go through the hot rooms. And to help us get to that incentive, there is an item distribution bid war. Now, again, for those of you who haven't done randomizers, a balanced logic is where the items are more or less in the same order. The game will want you to get, you know, probably a morph ball early, then missiles, then maybe a high jump. And then there's chaos, which is exactly what it sounds like. All bets are off. First thing you get, super missiles. Those aren't in Metroid 1. It doesn't matter. It's chaos. It probably matters more than that. I don't know. I'm being lightly roasted for doing math in chat, but at least they're not calling me wrong. So, you only got a few more runs, folks. We got Virtual Highlight, we got Gargoyles Quest 2 coming up a little bit later, and then it's the finale. You guys have done, and this is like part of this down. You guys have done so well this marathon. Every year, every 6 months, I get to be a part of this beautiful thing, this delightful, concentrated spark of queer joy and togetherness. And every single time, you guys blow me away. So, what I'm saying is I believe in you. Got a few more hours left, but I believe we can do it.